If you play Roblox Bedwars, you probably want to get better at the game. So today, I'm going to be going through some of the best tricks that you should start using in Roblox Bedwars. Also, consider subscribing. For the first trick, we have combining the Trinity kit with some of the most overpowered enchants in the game to create a really deadly combo. Now, if you guys don't already know, the Trinity kit has recently become the most overpowered kit with this new Season 8 update, since the healing has been amplified to account for the new HP changes. And if you get free eliminations and get the Void Angel, you can combine that with some of the most overpowered enchants like Lifesteal and the Execute enchant. And when it is paired with enchants, it becomes really overpowered. If you get the Lifesteal enchant, you can amplify the healing effect that it gives you when you deal damage to your opponents. So if you do a lot of damage, then you can heal up to 10 or 15 HP per tick with the Lifesteal enchant and the Trinity kit. And if you get the Execute enchant, no matter how much health you can have 200 health. If you get down to 1 HP and then eliminate an enemy, you get right back up to full HP. So I would recommend using this trick in your next game if you have the Trinity kit. Although the enchant combo is really overpowered, it just doesn't beat this next trick, which is getting an early PvP advantage using Fireball, Gloops, and Bows. If you guys don't already know, the new Season 8 update has completely changed how PvP works in Roblox Bedwars. Now, more than ever, you really need to get a nice PvP advantage if you want to start winning some more fights. And that also includes using some of the other items in the game, like Gloops, Bows, and Fireballs. If you're about to rush into a fight, you should probably use one of these items to get an early hit advantage on your opponent. Using stuff like Fireballs gives them the fire enchant effect, which slowly deals damage over time, and it also has a pretty high base damage as well. You can use the items like Gloops to completely counter kits like the Uzi and the Evelyn and the Jade kit, which are really popular and annoying kits to go against. Normally, the Uzi kit is considered really pay to win, but it's now really easy to counter if you just buy a few Gloops. Their kits become completely useless, and you can get a really nice PvP advantage on them. And if you're playing a ranged kit like the Archer or the Lila kit, you can actually use your bow as sort of like a ranged weapon to stop people from regenerating health or get an extra early hit off while you're attacking them. However, just because you get the first hit off, it doesn't mean that you automatically win your PvP fights, since now Bedwars has changed the PvP system entirely, and there are a ton of new variables to consider, like what kind of weapon they're using, what kit they're using, and what enchant they're using. So take that into consideration before using this trick. However, a trick that you don't need to consider is this bed breaking trick, which is the 5-block bed breaking method. And if you're playing solos, duos, or even squads, this is a really useful trick to easily break your opponent's bed. At the start of the game, if your opponent's bed defense is really small, like a couple layers of wall, you can tower up exactly 5 blocks and break their bed in third person. You can even make a little shield for yourself so your opponents can't hit you. And if you're playing squads or duos, make sure your teammates are either attacking the enemies, or if you're playing solos, keep an eye on your enemy and make sure he's not trying to sneak up on you. Using this trick, you're able to easily get your opponent's bed and wipe them out of the game. It's a really useful trick if you want to get some sneaky bed breaks, and it's a lot more reliable than going under the map or beside the map to try and get your enemy's bed. However, if you really want to abuse a overpowered trick, I would recommend this next trick that I'm going to be showcasing, which is called pixel hitting with the bow and the crossbow. And if you play a lot with bows or ranged kits, this trick is really good for you. You can do something that's called pixel hitting with the bow and the crossbow, or even the headhunter, which is insanely overpowered for every single situation you could be in. And especially if you're playing in ranked, it gives you a massive unfair advantage. So what exactly is pixel hitting? Now, since the player's hitbox is actually slightly bigger than the player model, and you can actually take advantage of this and actually hit players when they're behind blocks or walls with your bows and crossbows. This doesn't work with swords, I've already tried it, but it does still work with bows. Any single ranged weapon it works with. A really good example to use this trick in is if your enemy is teleporting back to base and they're behind a wall, and if they're not behind the wall enough, then you can actually hit them with your bow or crossbow. It's a little bit unpredictable, and it's really hard to tell when a player can actually be hit, so just kind of spam fire and see if you hit a shot shot on them. I've seen tons of pro players use this trick all the time, and it gives them an unfair advantage in their ranked game. So if you want to get better at Roblox Bedwars, you're probably gonna want some kits, right? Well, luckily for you, if you are early in my videos and subscribed, I'm gonna be giving away a few kits to you guys. So if you want to get a free kit for yourself and potentially become better at Roblox Bedwars, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on getting yourself a free kit. Anyways, for the next trick, if you want a 500 IQ your opponents, I would recommend this next trick, which is towering up with a fake block. Now, this trick sounds really difficult, but it is pretty easy to get the hang of. Now, this is similar to the OG towering up trick where people just tower up and get a nice hit off their opponents. However, that's sort of become obsolete with all of these new kit changes and new weapons. You really want to be using this more updated trick so you can get a true PvP advantage on your opponent. If your enemy is chasing you, pretend to place a block behind you and tower up, but don't tower up on the block that you just placed. Place another block instead, and if your enemy is good at the game, he's going to use his spatial awareness to dash towards the first block instead of the block that you placed right after. This is a really easy 500 IQ strat that you can use against really good players, because those really good players are going to try and anticipate your movement. So completely throwing them off and putting a 180 on them is going to really mess them up. This is a really good strat for versing good players, and especially in ranked, because there is a lot of sweaty kids that never get off this game. Speaking of ranked strategies, we have rushing to get that tier 1 generator. Now, this is probably the most iconic and most popular ranked strat that I've seen used. Basically, how this trick works is you and your team get 8 iron and you rush to get that tier 1 generator. Your goal is to get 4 diamonds as soon as possible to get that tier 1 generator. Getting a tier 1 generator is crucial for you and your team to get a iron advantage at the early stages of the game. You can quickly get iron armor, fireballs, and an iron sword with this tier 1 strategy, and it gives you a chance to get better mid control, get a really strong bed defense, and overall have a massive advantage while playing ranked. And with this next trick, you can combine this with the last trick as well if you want to be really overpowered, and that is getting a diamond sword early game as soon as possible. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this trick can be used with the last trick to make a really overpowered combo for yourself. Basically, how this trick works is after you get your tier 1 generator and you have a massive control over the middle, you want to get absolutely stacked up on emeralds so you can get a diamond sword. Make sure to use your match points to only upgrade your weapon of choice so you can get diamond sword as soon as possible. And if you're having trouble winning PvP fights, no worries. This trick is really good and gives you a higher DPS for your PvP fights, so you're not going to have to worry about missing hits because you have a much better sword than everyone else in the game. However, if you're using the Trinity, the Ember, or the Lumen kit, this trick is going to be really overpowered for you guys. If you're playing on the Pirate map or the Sand Temple map, you can actually deal damage to these pots and barrels and actually charge up your abilities as soon as the game starts. This is really overpowered if you want to get your ability quickly. You can also do this same trick in a ranked game, but instead of killing pots and barrels, you have to kill the Diamond Guardians to get your ability. So if you are using one of these kits and you really don't want to PvP anyone, this is probably your best bet. However, I probably wouldn't recommend it because avoiding players altogether probably isn't the smartest thing to do in ranked. If you use this next trick in your next squads or ranked game, this is going to completely change the way you play Roblox Bedwars forever. And this is a really easy way to counter the Dino Tamer Dom kit or people that just love spamming TNT on your base. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're playing ranked or squads, you really want to protect your bed. That's the thing that's going to decide whether you lose or win the game. And the Dino Tamer Dom kit is a really popular bed breaking kit because it almost exposes the bed instantly and breaks every single block. If you have a nice big bed defense and you place some blocks that are elevated in sort of this shape, you can actually prevent the Dino Tamer Dom kit from dashing into your bed defense and destroying all of your blocks. And you can also prevent people from TNT spamming you because they're gonna have to get through those layers of blocks first. This trick is amazing for ranked strategies because a lot of people use the Dino Tamer Dom kit, and this trick renders that kit completely useless.